All right, welcome to another episode of Powerhouse Conversations. I'm your host, Dream Big Fred, and we are back, but we are different, right? I'm not gonna break it down to just one niche. I am going to be talking about a lot of different things, everything that goes on with Dream Big Fred. So it could be tech, sports, basketball, NIL, stock market, whatever the case may be. I'm going to be talking about it all. My point of the matter is I'm a very unique and read, well traveled, well versed individual. So I'm not going to limit myself to just singular topics. So, for example, today, right, Phase 5 just ended. I just finished watching Ironheart. Loved it. And I'm a big Marvel fanatic. I'm a big MCU person that watches everything that comes out. I got to be there the first night when it comes out. So obviously, with Ironheart just ending, I am here to say that the MCU is back. Phase 5 was great. I know everybody gives MCU a lot of flack and has been saying it's been falling off since Endgame. I don't think it was as bad as people thought, but I think Phase 5 was really good. And today I am going to break down my thoughts on the movies and the projects, so TV series included in Phase 5. I'm gonna rank them from start to finish. I'll start with the ones that I liked, or no, how about this? We're gonna get the bad ones out the way first, so we don't have to spend as much time on that because I'm broken down into three different categories. We have my heat, which is my top five. We got the mid pack, right? The mid pack. It was cool, but it wasn't the heat. And then obviously we got the bottom tier. We got the worst of the worst, the overrated ones, as you might say. So we'll start with the bottom tier, missed opportunity. I think there was a lot of missed opportunities. So I'll start at the bottom. Echo, that was the one with old girl from with Kingpin. It was a very lackluster uh, plot. Wasn't needed. I don't think anybody asked for it. Um, I think it was a good way to introduce Kingpin and that he was back. But Echo was not that good to me, in my opinion. I think that they tried to give us another female minority character, and they did a decent job of trying to show the roots of Native Americans. Yeah, she is a deaf Native American. So deaf Native American. That's her, I guess the actual actress Maya Lopez is Mexican, but she plays a Native American. So that I think that it was okay. She came in Hawkeye. If anybody watched Hawkeye, I think she played a brief role in Hawkeye. So, like I said, it was. I think that's the bottom. The MCU projects. I would put that right right there with my next one, which is the Marvels. I don't think we got to spend too much time on it. I think it was cool for family, like kids. I think they missed the boat because I really do like Monica Rambeau. I loved her in WandaVision. Um, and I think that and I loved Kamala Khan in Miss Marvel. I loved her TV show. I think that was a really good TV show, really underrated. I don't think it got a lot of talk about it, but I think Kamala was really good. And then Carol Danvers, she's always been pretty good. Captain Marvel. She's always been pretty good in her appearances. So I expected a lot more from the Marvels, which they did a lot of quirky, tried to make it funny comedy type stuff, and I think they just missed. So it's another miss. I think, matter of fact, I think all of these at the bottom are ones that were missed opportunities because they had opportunities to be really good, but they chose to try to be gimmicky and they missed the mark. So the next one up is Ant-Man. And Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumanium. And I think they really missed the mark because Jonathan Majors did his thing acting as he always does. He did his thing in Ant-Man Quantumania. They tried to make it funny. They did too much joke. Mod, or whatever his name is. Modoc, that's his name, Modoc. They tried to bring in the Modoc character and like make it all funny and all the joking. It was just too much, and it took what could have been a good plot and storyline with Kang and everything that they were building with Kang and Loki and building him up, and then he got defeated by ants. It was just a lot of build up for Kang the Conqueror, for him to not be as strong as a character. It was just, he was just supposed to be this really big bad person, and they just took it and they fumbled the bag, because Jonathan Majors was in there acting. He played his role to the T. He played Kang, and I'm really hoping that they bring Kang back at some point, and we'll get to Loki a little later on. But I really hope that they bring Kang back, because Jonathan Majors did his things. But I have Ant Man and Wasp, Quantumanium in the bottom tier. Definitely had that in the bottom tier. I have a couple of asterisks as well, just because I didn't finish Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. Looked pretty good, but it was a little kitty, so I'll have that at the asterisk. I'm not gonna put it at mid pack. I've heard some good reviews about it. It's a prequel for Spider-Man, but yeah, I'll finish it at some point. Um, what If season 2 and season 3, they were cool. Like, they're just something to watch every now and then, so I watch them. But I still put them in the bottom tier. And one more. I'll throw this in the mid pack. I'll throw this in the mid pack. We'll get to Secret Invasion, because I do feel like they missed opportunity, big missed opportunity. Because I feel like Samuel L. Jackson did his thing in this show. I think Samuel L. Jackson um, was put on an amazing performance, was able to carry the show, and his writers let him down. I think all the way it was good dialogue from Samuel L. Jackson in the scrolls. The beginning, it told the story of why he had that relationship with them, how he let them down, how he used them, and it showed that struggle. He also showed like what it was, him and his wife, what it was like to be black and have to go through these different struggles. And then it also showed Don Cheadle and his character and him struggling to be black in his role and what that was like. I think that this was a very great opportunity. It had the spy thriller, aspect of it, but the script let him down in the end because of how it ended. First off, this has got to be like one of the most powerful beings. That scroll at the end, it had to be the most powerful being that's in the MCU, and we never seen or heard from again, because the scroll had the ability to have all the powers of every Avenger ever, right? Like, so you got a scroll that can shapeshift and turn into and use all the powers of the Avengers, but she's just somewhere to never be heard of again. Like, it's ridiculous. That is horrible writing, as well as I think that the MCU has done this a lot lately. Of they introduce characters and then they just disappear. So it's like, in the past MCU, we used to be introduced to people and they would be build up, and then we see them later on, or we see them in this movie, we see them in this project, and then it's build up to when the next time we see them. You remember when the first time we was introduced to Spider-Man in Civil War? Like, it was great. And then now it builds up, and now we get Spider-Man in his own movie, and then everything just goes from there. Like, I think that the MCU is attempting to get back to that point, but Secret Invasion is a example of them missing the mark. Of like, we're never going to see this character again, and you introduce this super powerful character. And yeah, I think that's they dropped the ball on that. Agatha All Along, I think that was really good. I think people have it, look a lot higher than I do. I put it in the middle. It's sitting at 8. Agatha is able to hold her own. She's a very entertaining actress, and her story, building off of WandaVision, was really good, because WandaVision was amazing, and that build up was I really rocked with that. And I think that it was like weird. So I'm not gonna, like I said, it wasn't great. It didn't like just hold, like, where I had to binge watch it. Like Ironheart, I binge watched that in 2 days. I waited till all of them came out, and again, I know I'm jumping ahead, but I binge watched that in 2 days. Agatha, it was a slow burn, but it was good. It was good. It was good. I'll go next. This is another one. Well, I'm gonna go Captain America: Brave New World at 7, and I say at 7, and I think that Sam Wilson did a really, really good job. Anthony Mackie held his own. It was solid. It wasn't special. It wasn't great. They did a lot of build up for this show. And this is gonna be a recurring theme. I know like some of these people that's on the internet probably not gonna like this, but this is probably one of the first ones where we get black characters in Marvel and people just bomb the reviews and put bad reviews for things that they didn't even see, don't care about, and they just see a black person playing a character or a role that they don't feel they are worthy of, so they put bad comments. And Captain America: Brave New World was not a bad movie, but it got very bad reviews from a lot of people just based on that. My critique on Captain America: Brave New World is that they should not have they should not have previewed Red Hulk into all the lead up and build up. I know why they did it, but I think it let down the movie. However, they did it for the numbers. If they didn't tease Red Hulk, if they didn't promote Red Hulk, then they may not have got the box office response that they did. So I understand why. But to me, the problem is that the entire movie, I was sitting there watching, waiting for him to turn into Red Hulk, and it took away from the movie just for it to be 10 minutes at the end of the movie of Red Hulk. And it wasn't like the fight scenes were pretty good, but I feel like it would have been better if we watched the movie as a movie and oh my god, he turns into Red Hulk. I think that would have been a lot better from a cinematography and from a story writing, story build up standpoint. I think Thunderbolt Ross, we already knowing that he was going to turn into Red Hulk was sort of a letdown. And I think that I also think that Harrison Ford did a really good job in this movie as well. The critics gave it a 71% Rotten Tomato. Solid, not special. Not special. Yeah, they fumbled the reveal. Sam did a really good job. I like them bringing in the first super soldier. Showing how involving him into the storyline. I think that was really good. But yeah, no, man, I think that it was a good movie. Definitely didn't deserve the slack that it got. At number 6 of the mid pack, I'm going with Deadpool and Wolverine. I know a lot of people love Deadpool and Wolverine. I love Ryan Reynolds, so I liked the movie. It was good. It was entertaining, but I'm gonna put it in the mid pack tier because all of those cameos, and it just wasn't a really good story. And it played on Loki and all of that situation and the TVA. And I think that it just didn't have a lot of substance behind it. But I know that's a part of his shtick. That's a part of Ryan Reynolds thing. But I love it. I got it. I probably want to put it in Heat, but I'll have to run it back just to see if I really think that Deadpool and Wolverine was Heat. I think it was. I think it was borderline Heat. So I'll probably, if I could throw 6, yeah, I don't want to put it in mid pack. I'm gonna throw it in. I'm gonna throw it in Heat. I'm gonna throw it in Heat. I'm gonna throw it in the Heat. I'm gonna throw it in the Heat. So yeah, that starts my Heat. Now let's get to the rest of the Heat. Daredevil, Born Again, Heat, Heat. It could have been better, but it was Heat. And I know that they had their issues with filming, starting and stopping, starting and stopping. I think they did. It would have been one, but the slow burn, the villain that wasn't really a villain, so that like it. I mean, well, it wasn't. He wasn't a main villain. I should say. I think that was a kind of a letdown. The serial killer, a guy that like great episode though. right? But it was like, okay, they built it up for him to just be talking to the therapist, and then it's like, oh, he's done, and then the girl killed him. Like, come on. Now let's get to everything I love. Matt Murdock. He going back to Hell's Kitchen, going head to head with Kingpin. I think I wanted more of clashing between them, but I do like the mental battle that they had, and just like the going back and forth for both of them. I think it's like I said, I love storytelling. I like that's gonna be my main thing in all of these that I find that's heat. If you're not telling good stories, then you can't. It's not heat, right? You have to have top tier acting. You have to have top tier storytelling. That's the dream big Fred criteria for being heat. But yeah, so Daredevil and Kingpin, like they built it up, and I love that they built it up all the way to the end, where Matt takes the bullet for Kingpin. They brought back Frank Castle, the Punisher. Frank is amazing, dope. Like the actor, I can't remember his John Bernthal, I think. Amazing actor. He did his thing. He always has great monologue. The scene with him and with Daredevil and Punisher at Punisher's house, and he's trying to get him to come with him, and he's having that conversation about what makes him good versus him being bad. Like amazing storytelling. I think that it was very very good. The courtroom, like I think that at the beginning, but like I said, that's a part of what makes it not number one, because it's so everywhere. All right, it's great storytelling, but it's not cohesive, and you can tell that this was shot at different times and they kind of plug things in, and that's what's keeping it from number one. But they still find a way to tell the story and still build up, basically with Daredevil being born again, like his fight to not, because at the beginning of the series, he says he's not going to be Daredevil anymore, and he's just fighting with that. And so something has to click and happen for him to be Daredevil. And yeah, I think they did a good job with what they had, with tying that build up. And yeah, it got good reviews. 90% Rotten Tomatoes. Um, I definitely recommend going back and watching the OG Daredevil as well. But I think this is a good start to the MCU Daredevil. Number four. Number four. I am going to go with Ironheart. This is the most recent release and the final release of Phase 5, Ironheart. Let's go. Riri Williams, young black tech genius, so you know I'm rocking with it. She is trying to change the world. It starts off with her getting kicked out of MIT. So what does she do? She goes back home to Chicago. And when she goes back home to Chicago, just like many black young Americans, they fall into the trap of crime. And but her thought is that she is trying to change the world, so she's just doing what she needs to do to make some money. And she brings the parallels to Tony Stark of saying, hey, what is Tony Stark without his money? And it caused a lot of chatter on the internet because people took it out of context. People took it the wrong way. She's not saying he's nothing without his money. She's saying he wouldn't be Tony Stark without his money, right? He wouldn't be able to do the groundbreaking, the life changing things that he did without his money. His money is what allowed him to do the things that he did and change the world and be a genius and bring his genius to the forefront. I think that is brilliant, and a lot of people took what she said and took it as disrespect and ran with it, and I think it's just idiotic. I think it's short-sighted. I think is doing a disservice to Tony Stark, and even I also feel people didn't watch because you didn't get the context behind what she was saying because you didn't watch. You were having conversations about something that you did not watch, which comes down to being racist and sexist, right? I think a lot of people had their opinion on her being black and portraying the next Tony Stark, Iron Man, Ironheart, and her being a woman and portraying the next Iron Man. People were being racist and sexist, and that's the bottom line. I think that uh, she did a good job of speaking to both of those things, and I loved how they created the parallels of her and Tony Stark, even with the anxiety that they dealt with, the weight of the weight of being a genius was heavy. The weight of being a genius with people that are depending on you is heavy. I think that Ryan Coogler did an amazing job. I really think after watching it again, I'm gonna watch it again, and this may get higher because I'm gonna spend some time on this one, and there's three more after this. I really think it should be in my top three, but I gotta think a little bit more about it. And this may be because I'm black and I can relate. And I think that is important, the relatability of this. And some people may not be able to relate to this. And I think that's probably why, the ones that get it, and the ones that don't, that they just not gonna get it. They're not gonna understand the struggles of being black genius and trying to be successful in the world. It's a lot different than what a white rich person may deal with. That was just the facts. Those are just the cold hard facts. And so these are things that people in our culture have to deal with on a day-to-day basis, right? Just the people that's pulling you back in, right? She got kicked out of MIT, had to go back to Chicago, had to go back to the hood, and got caught up with the wrong crowd and had troubles with her identity and being able to still build her tech and go where she needed to go. And that typically happens to people, in these environments, right? They're pulled in and sometimes used by people who see that they don't have the resources that they need, and now you are being you're being targeted, and you don't have the ability to go do the things that you need to do. But no, I think it was an amazing show. Like I said, I'm gonna run it back. A lot of the ratings have been skewed because people are online and putting up ratings for things that they haven't even seen. I think that's just sick, and I think it's wild. I think it's crazy. But no, loved it. Let's go to number three. Number three, we are gonna go with Guardians of the Galaxy, and I love again storytelling. This is about Rocket Raccoon's origin story, right? The Guardians fight to save Rocket Raccoon's life, but they are uncovering his past. And I do not want to get his name wrong, and I cannot pronounce his name, so I'm not even going to try. But the black guy who played the High Evolutionary, masterpiece. Boy, he played that role, and he's one of the best MCU villains as far as acting that we've seen. He played it. He killed that. He killed that. I'm not even gonna say this is just a regular MCU movie. It was like a farewell letter. The Gunn did his thing. Rocket gave his story, gave why he is the way that he is. Yeah, he went out. He went out on his own terms with Marvel. A lot of people say that Guardians is Marvel's best trilogy. I probably wouldn't say that. I'm gonna still go with, well, Captain America got a new, they got a four now, but before that I would say Captain America with if I could take out the first Captain America and put Winter Soldier, Civil War, and Brave New World in there, then I would do that. But yeah, so back to Guardians 3, masterpiece. I love it. This is how the MCU gets where they need to go, is the balance between, because Guardians has the humor and the funniness, but it gave you the storytelling and the emotions and just real good acting, right? Storytelling, great acting, that's your recipe for success. And so it had all three. And these next two are gonna have all three. Let's go with, I'm gonna do some more thoughts, but yeah, we're gonna go with Thunderbolts. Florence Pugh, what she did in Thunderbolts as Elena, boy, masterpiece. But yeah, to give whoever didn't watch a little background, basically the the dysfunctional former villains of the MCU got the opportunity to be superheroes. And we're talking about Yelena, we're talking about U.S. Agent, Bucky, and we're talking about Yelena's dad and the other ones. But the main people that you want to talk about who did their thing is Yelena, U.S. Agent, and Bucky. Bucky did good. The action scenes in this was really good from Bucky, but Yelena, the storytelling was great. Um, it talked about trauma, betrayal, redemption, but it still had the action and it still had the funniness. Like this is what I talked earlier about when the MCU tries too hard to be funny and skimps on the storytelling, skimps on the writing, skimps on the acting. That's where they lose. The recipe for the MCU is heavy storytelling, heavy acting, sprinkling the funny. The funny will come if you have the good acting and you have good chemistry and the storytelling is there. But when you try too hard to be funny, that's where you miss it. You missed the boat. And this is what it felt like. This is what it felt like to be a Marvel fan. Thunderbolts gave you that feeling back of the MCU is back. The action was great. The emotions behind it. It felt like it was. It felt like it had weight to it. But definitely in my top three. And yeah, it was tough not to put this one, and I still might put it one. And so finally, Loki, and I think this may be a little biased because we're getting 45, 50-minute episodes, 8 of them, right? So it's a little. Yeah, that's why like with Ironheart and Loki, you got the like when it's done right. Like I think what 3 of my top 5 are TV series because you're getting more, you get more bang for your buck, right? It's a lot harder to pack all this into a movie when you can do great TV series, and I think Marvel has to lean into the TV series when they do it right. But Loki, um, it goes back to storytelling, right? Loki went, and I think this is what makes it so good for me is that Loki started off as a villain, and by the end of season 2 of Loki, we're rooting for Loki. And matter of fact, we hated Loki at the beginning because he was such a little like sucker. Like he was always snaking Thor, like he was never to be trusted. And by the end of this, it was just like it was redemption. His redemption arc was amazing. He went from the god of stories to just like he had glorious purpose. He kept talking about that. You will always hear glorious purpose, and he finally got to reach and see his glorious purpose. And so like he's the most powerful being in the multiverse right now. And I can't wait for the next Marvel. I mean, for the next Avengers. I'm sorry. I can't wait. I can't wait to see how this ties in. Like he's literally holding the MCU in his hands. Like, yeah, 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 yeah. He sacrifices freedom for purpose. And I think there's a story in that, right? Like, just really think about that. You sacrifice your freedom for purpose. Like, who's willing to do that? And Loki, like, he longed for that. You got to think about Loki was a villain. He became a villain because he was adopted, but never was told that he was adopted, and always felt like he was second to Thor. Never felt like he had a purpose, so he was always doing the sneaky stuff, and he was always doing all the stuff that made everybody hate him. But he was always looking for glorious purpose. So who was willing to give up their freedom for a purpose? And if you really want to go deep with it, when you think about just you and your daily life of giving up your freedom for your purpose, like that freedom is going out. That freedom is sitting on the couch not doing nothing, and instead of getting up and going to the gym. Like in everything we do in life, we have to give up that freedom to reach our purpose. I think this ties right into that. Like there's stories, there's storytelling behind it. Like we said, complex ways of thinking about it and how it relates and how it ties into our daily life and how we're able to. That's what storytelling does. That's what when you're able to write good stories, it's going to resonate. And you got to have something that resonates for it to stick. And that's what the MCU did to get back is they gave us stories that resonated and they stuck. So if you really think about it, we got Loki, we got Guardians, we got Ironheart, we got Daredevil, we got Thunderbolts, and they stick. And so, in my opinion, the MCU's back. Phase 5 brought the MCU back. I don't care what nobody says. Phase 5 brought the MCU back. And I'm excited about it. I'm excited to see Fantastic Four, and I'm excited to see the next Avengers. So MCU's back, in my opinion. But that's it for this episode. Definitely gonna keep bringing you all more topics, more discussions, everything that, like I said, that I like to talk about. This is Dream Big Fred, and this is Powerhouse Conversations. I'm out.